Have you ever wondered if the people closest to you might be secretly taking advantage of your vulnerabilities? In this eye-opening video, we'll reveal the shocking truth about how family, friends, partners, colleagues, and even your boss might be exploiting your weaknesses, sometimes without even realizing it. We'll uncover 15 surprising vulnerabilities that leave you open and unprotected and show you how to combat them. If you don't watch this video, you might remain blissfully unaware of the subtle ways you're being manipulated every day. Get ready for some uncomfortable truths that will change how you view your relationships. Subscribe now to arm yourself with the knowledge you need to protect yourself from exploitation. 1. The generous trap. When kindness becomes expected, resource plus kindness can equal an expectation. An expectation minus appreciation leads to resentment. This vulnerability occurs when you consistently cover bills, make plans, or take on extra work without acknowledgement. For example, always paying for group dinners can lead friends to expect it, gradually eroding their appreciation. To avoid this, ensure there's a balance in giving and receiving, and don't hesitate to communicate your expectations. 2. The flexibility fallacy. When adaptability becomes a weakness. Being too easygoing and flexible can lead others to take advantage of your accommodating nature. This vulnerability manifests when you constantly put aside your own needs to accommodate others, leading to poor boundaries and self-neglect. For instance, always changing your plans to fit others' schedules can result in people undervaluing your time. Strike a balance between flexibility and maintaining healthy boundaries to prevent exploitation. 3. The stress susceptibility. Vulnerability in overwhelm. During stressful times, our defenses are low, making us more susceptible to manipulation and poor decision-making. This vulnerability can lead to unequal distribution of responsibilities, emotional manipulation, and erosion of personal boundaries. For example, during a work crisis, a colleague might offload their tasks onto you, also knowing you're too stressed to refuse. Be extra vigilant during high-stress periods and rely on trusted individuals for support. 4. The trust trap. The danger of assuming universal goodness. Defaulting to believing everyone is equally good can leave you vulnerable to those with less honorable intentions. While it's admirable to start with a high level of trust and respect, it's crucial to adjust based on people's actions. For instance, a new acquaintance might take advantage of your trusting nature to borrow money with no intention of repaying. Maintain a balance between optimism and realistic caution in your interactions. 5. The open door policy. The peril of inadequate self-protection. Not actively protecting yourself emotionally, financially, and digitally is like leaving your front door wide open. This vulnerability extends beyond physical safety to areas like susceptibility to manipulation, financial scams, and digital security breaches. For example, using public Wi-Fi without protection could expose your personal data to hackers. Implement strong security measures in all aspects of your life to safeguard against exploitation. 6. The financial tightrope. Vulnerability in economic instability. Financial insecurity can leave you vulnerable in numerous ways, narrowing your focus and making you more susceptible to exploitation. When stressed about money, you might overlook warning signs or make poor decisions out of desperation. For instance, you might stay in a toxic job because you can't afford to lose it, or fall for a get-rich-quick scheme. Work on building financial stability to reduce this vulnerability. 7. The knowledge gap. The danger of low financial literacy. Low financial literacy can make you an easy target for con artists and predatory financial practices. Without understanding basic investment principles or how credit works, you might fall for scams or agree to unfavorable terms. For example, not understanding APR could lead you to accept a credit card with exorbitant interest rates. Invest time in improving your financial education to protect yourself from exploitation. 8. The approval addiction. When the need for validation becomes a liability. Craving. Validation from others can cloud your judgment and make you overlook red flags. This vulnerability can manifest in personal relationships and professional settings, leading you to tolerate unacceptable behavior. For instance, you might take on excessive workloads to gain approval from your boss, compromising your well-being. Learn to value your own opinion and set healthy boundaries to avoid being exploited for your need for approval. 9. The safety net syndrome. The pitfall of always being the support, creating a safety net for others, can lead to you becoming the safety net yourself, draining your resources and energy. This vulnerability occurs when people come to rely on you for constant support without reciprocating. For example, a friend might repeatedly ask for financial help without ever attempting to repay you. Set clear boundaries and ensure support in relationships is mutual to avoid being taken for granted. 10. The conflict avoidance conundrum. When fear of confrontation backfires. Being afraid of confrontation can lead to compromising your own needs and desires to avoid uncomfortable situations. This vulnerability allows others to push your boundaries without consequence. For instance, you might accept unfair work conditions rather than speak up to your supervisor. Learn to be assertive and stand up for yourself to create more balanced and respectful relationships. 11. The self-esteem snare. How low self-worth invites exploitation. Having low self-esteem affects how you see yourself and interact with others, making it easier for people to take advantage of your insecurities. This vulnerability can lead to undervaluing your skills, accepting poor treatment, or overworking to prove your worth. For example, you might accept a lower salary than you deserve because you don't believe in your abilities. Work on building your self-esteem to protect yourself from exploitation. 12. The sensitivity stigma. When labels become weapons. Believing you're overly sensitive, dramatic, or weak can make you doubt your own feelings and perceptions, making it easier for others to manipulate or dismiss you. This vulnerability can lead to tolerating hurtful behaviors or hesitating to express your concerns. For instance, you might not speak up about a colleague's inappropriate behavior for fear of being labeled dramatic. Learn to trust your feelings and assert your right to respect. 13. The fairness fog. Navigating treatment without a compass. Not knowing what kind of treatment is fair or not knowing yourself well can leave you vulnerable to mistreatment. This lack of self-awareness and personal standards can make it difficult to recognize when others are behaving badly. For example, you might accept a friend's constant criticism because you're unsure if your expectations are too high. Develop a strong sense of self and clear personal boundaries to protect yourself. 14. The mistake manipulation. When past errors become present. Chains. Your mistakes can be exploited by others to maintain control or superiority over you. This vulnerability occurs when people use your past missteps to undermine your confidence or shift blame. For instance, a colleague might repeatedly bring up a past error to diminish your current achievements. Learn to own your mistakes, learn from them, and move forward without letting them define you. 15. The past paralysis. When history becomes a weapon. Your past, especially when it includes regrets or unresolved issues, can be used as leverage by others to manipulate or control you. This vulnerability can lead to feelings of guilt or shame, making you feel like you're constantly making up for something you can't change. For example, a partner might bring up past relationship mistakes during arguments to gain the upper hand. Work on resolving past issues and don't let others use your history against you. If you're intrigued by the idea of building stronger, more authentic relationships and protecting yourself from exploitation, keep watching our previous videos. We tackle more ways to develop emotional intelligence, set healthy boundaries, and navigate complex social dynamics. You might be surprised by the hidden patterns in your relationships and the powerful tools you can use to safeguard your well-being. Ready to take control of your life and relationships? Click the link in the description to access our exclusive resources on personal growth and empowerment. Your journey to stronger, healthier relationships starts now.